want to strip back about 1 inch. Bend all the wires in a loop. In the upward direction, and then you can turn the device. This will make sure that your wires go onto these screws in the same direction that the screws tighten, which is important because if you don't do that, then when you tighten the screw, it will loosen that wire. That wire will end up opening up instead of closing tightly. Then when you flip the device over for the hot, it's going to be facing the right way as well. Done. All right, so this is a GFI, ground fault circuit interrupter outlet. And the way that I do them when I run these wires, I cap this. This is coming from the power source. That's important when this GFI will be servicing a protecting a outlet downstream, which would be the receptacle on the other side. On these, you're only going to strip back about 3/4 of an inch instead of 1 inch. All right, so on the back of the GFI, there will be this attention caution tape on generally the bottom, either way, on one side of it. You only remove this if you are going to be using the outlet to protect something downstream. And then the 2 screws that are underneath that tape are the ones that you hook up the wires going to the next outlet to. So this is the only time that I will slide it under a thing, and the reason why is because this is a clamp. It's not just a spring-loaded tension spring that is found in the back of other like switches and stuff like that. This is an actual clamp. So I will generally go ahead and with these, because it is a clamp, I will use a flat screwdriver to tighten that a little bit more than the impact. I don't want to over tighten it, and the impact can easily do that, so I prefer to do this by hand where I can feel that it is really tight but not too tight, which when you've done it enough, you'll know what that is. So I wanted to make sure and hook that up before I got the other one ready, simply so I did not accidentally mix up which set of wires went where. So this one's going to be the hot leg coming in, bringing power to the device, and it's going to hook up to the top, which is, if there's only one set of wires, that's where you're going to hook it up. It's very important when you're setting those wires in that you get them angled into the box in a certain way so that they don't coil up and hit the sides of your device. So this receptacle is due to where it's located behind the toilet. It will be a GFI. However, what it's feeding downstream does not have to be GFI protected. It is just lights and stuff like that. And I don't like for a GFI to trip and your lighting to go out, because then you can't see to reset the GFI. So with that being the case, we are going to want to, on this one, do what's basically bypass the GFI for everything downhill. So you're going to essentially hook this up as if there's only one wire. You're going to leave this tape on. Just loosen these up so that we can hook them up. And you're going to hook both wires up to the top screws. And you are only allowed, you only want to put 2 wires under the one screw when it's a clamp like this. This is designed for 2 wires to be able to clamp into it. If you are wrapping the wires around the screw, you should not do 2 wires at all. You're going to hook the white up, the neutral, to the silver screw, and then this copper, it's really brass, but brass colored screw is where you will hook up the hot leg. Now here we're doing 2 single pole switches. Very simple. The box has already been wired up during the rough-in configuration. So we already have the 2 switches separated out. You're going to strip back about 1 inch. And then you'll curl all of them, making a loop in the upward direction. That way when you tighten down the screws with the loops facing that direction, they will be facing the same direction as the screws tighten. And that way, when the screws tighten, they actually will close this gap up. So, I mean, I'm closing it with these wire strippers, but it will close it even more. So now we have a 2-game box with 2 duplex receptacles. It's going to be very similar to doing just one with some slight modifications. So I'm going to do it the way that I have found to be the easiest way, or at least what I believe is. Instead of cutting this off, I'm going to simply break the sheathing on these. And then take a knife to just remove that, very carefully remove that break. And then you can bend it right there. This way you don't have to make pigtails. And you're not putting two wires under one screw. It's just one solid wire. And you already have your wire going over to your second receptacle device. All right, so in here we have to put a three-way switch. We have 3 wires, 2 black, 1 red. On here we have, on the switch, there are 2 brass screws and 1 black screw. The black screw is very important. The other 2 can go anywhere on here. What we need to know is which one of these wires hooks up to the black. Now in this case, because there's multiple different ways, but in this one, we can look in the back of the box here, and we can see that these 2 wires come out of the same the same cable. It is a 14-3. This one comes out on its own. This one that's coming out by itself is the one that's going to hook up to the black screw, and the others don't matter. So now that we have them separated and know that, we can hook up our wires. making sure we remember to keep this one for the black screw. All right, so this was just a 3-way switch, but now we have a 4-way switch here. So what's important with a 4-way switch, we have output and input. Now, the way that that's going to be done is we need to separate. If we look in the back of the box, we can see that these two are coming out of one cable and these two are coming out of another 14-3. So that's what we need to know when we're hooking this up. So both of these are going to hook up to the either the input or output, and these will hook up to the other. Does not matter which one is which. As far as that goes, it's technically neither is a straight or the other. What is important, what you do need to do, is you need to make sure that the output, say if this is the, let's see, which one I put on, the input. If the black from this cable is the input, then this one will become the output. And then you want to make sure you keep that the same on the other side. The red that came with this one needs to make sure that it hooks up across from it on the output there, and same thing here. So that's the way that a 4-way switch needs to be hooked up. These are both coming from the same cable, and these two are coming from the same cable. And you want to make sure that they're in line with each other that way. If you do that, it'll work perfectly.